My CEO called me emotional in front of the entire board. My response made him offer me his job 3 months later. My CEO called me emotional in front of the entire board. My response made him offer me his job 3 months later, and the story of how it happened has become legend at our company. I spent 8 years climbing the corporate ladder at a major tech firm, surviving 3 acquisitions and countless reorganizations. As the only female PM in our division, I'd learned to navigate the subtle and not so subtle gender dynamics of executive meetings. Last quarter, our CEO Richard presented a new strategic direction that would have gutted my department's most successful project, project that had increased company revenue by 22% over the past year. When he finished his presentation, I raised data-driven objections, pointing out specific financial projections his plan had overlooked. Jennifer, he interrupted with that condescending smile I'd seen directed at female colleagues countless times before. I appreciate your emotional attachment to your team's work, but we need objective business decisions here, not feelings. The boardroom fell silent. 20 pairs of eyes darted between us, waiting for my reaction. My heart pounded as I felt that familiar pressure to respond too strongly, and I am difficult, too weakly, and I am a pushover. In that moment, I remembered the advice my mentor gave me years ago. When they try to make it personal, make it mathematical. I took a slow sip of water, placed my tablet on the table, and smiled. Richard, I am fascinated by your characterization of data as emotional, I said, my voice steady. Let me clarify which part of my objection you found subjective. Parenter, was it the 22% revenue increase, the $14.3 million in projected losses from your proposal, or the customer retention statistics showing we'd lose 31% of our enterprise clients? Before he could respond, I continued, I've prepared a detailed analysis, comparing both approaches. I shared my screen to the main display, showing a comprehensive breakdown. I am happy to email this to everyone so we can discuss which numbers feel too emotional for consideration. The CFO cleared his throat and asked for my projections to be included in the next discussion. 3 board members requested immediate access to my analysis. Richard's proposal was tabled for further review. As we filed out of the boardroom, I expected backlash. Instead, our CEO whispered, that was masterful. Later that day, 2 female directors separately told me they'd been taking notes on my response. The following week, Richard avoided eye contact in meetings, but something unexpected happened. Senior executives began coming directly to me with strategic questions. My inbox filled with meeting requests from board members wanting my perspective on various initiatives. 3 weeks later, Richard's proposal was officially shelved. My team's project received additional funding instead. The real shock came 2 months after that. I was called to a private meeting with Richard and the board chair. My stomach nodded, assuming I was about to be sidelined or worse. Instead, Richard looked uncomfortable as the chair explained that Richard had decided to pursue other opportunities. Then came the words I never expected. We'd like you to consider stepping into the CEO role. After they outlined the details, Richard said something that still surprises me. Your response in that board meeting showed me something important. You defended your work without making it personal. I've been reflecting on how often I've confused confidence for competence and emotion for passion. I started as interim CEO the following month. During my first all-hands meeting, a junior analyst raised her hand during Q&A and asked, is it true you got this job because you called out the former CEO for tone policing you? The room erupted in nervous laughter. Rather than dismiss it, I decided to address it directly. I got this job because I valued data over ego, and because I refused to let someone dismiss expertise as emotion. The quickest way to lose credibility in this company is to confuse the two. That became our unofficial department motto. 6 months later, we had the most gender-diverse executive team in our company's history, part not because of quotas, but because we created a culture where expertise speaks louder than stereotypes. Sometimes standing your ground doesn't just change your position, it changes the entire landscape, and here is nothing emotional about that. It's just good business.